48 Laws of Power. Imagine you are playing chess with someone and your opponent somehow knows exactly how to win, like they have some sort of secret rule book that tells them what to do. Well, that's what this book is, a guide to being sneakily smart and outpowering everyone around you. It's full of advice, and not like having a healthy lifestyle, following your dreams type of thing, but more like how to make friends with powerful people, keep your plans secret, and even make others do the work while you get the credit. You can say it's like playing a game, but with the emotions of real people. A bit controversial, right? For example, one of the so-called laws tells you to crush your enemy totally. Sounds harsh, I know, but if you have a pesky fly in your room and you just shoo it away instead of catching it, it'll keep coming back to bother you. This book is now banned in a lot of areas, especially in prisons, because teaching people how to become more skilled manipulators isn't exactly something most want to encourage, especially in an environment filled with, let's say, ambitious individuals. But here's the thing, this book isn't really about taking over the world like some evil king's brother or a mad witch. It just reflects the strategies everyone uses every day. And why does it remind you of Karen from your office? Well, and maybe it's because she's the one who always manages to snag the last slice of pizza at office lunches. Or maybe she's just been reading this book. The Anarchist Cookbook. Imagine this, one day you receive a recipe book in the mail, but instead of guiding you on how to bake cookies and cakes, it's filled with instructions on causing chaos, like making homemade explosives. What would you do? The author William Powell wrote it because he was really angry about the Vietnam War and wanted to rebel against the system. He had his reasons, I must say. In this book, you'll find all sorts of dangerous recipes, like how to make a bomb using stuff you might find in your kitchen. And let's be honest, we all know that no matter your age, you'll be tempted to try it. Curiosity kills the cat, and moral police want the cat alive. The book even delves into how to hack phone systems, because, let's face it, who hasn't been curious about their ex's dating life? In short, this is a cookbook of chaos. It's like if someone took all the worst ideas from the villain's mind and put them into a book. But here's where things get interesting. After a while, William Powell realized, oops, maybe that wasn't the best idea, and tried to take the book back. But it was too late by then. Spoiler alert, the internet never forgets, and neither do bookstores. Like when you post something online and immediately regret it, except instead of deleting a tweet, he was trying to unpublish an entire book. Now, the Anarchist Cookbook is banned in many places because, let's be real, no one wants their kids, parents, or friends to become most wanted. It is a live example of how powerful ideas can be. Sometimes they take on a life of their own, even when you try to stop them. 120 Days of Sodom. This book is definitely not for children and weak-hearted people. You might wonder, why? Because it's filled with really disturbing and violent content, so intense that even the author of 50 Shades of Grey might pass out after reading it. This book contains information about the worst things people could do to each other that no sane mind can ever imagine. And yes, I meant it in a sexual way. Now, people find it very surprising why this book got banned. In fact, the author couldn't even get it published in his lifetime. It took over 100 years before any publisher dared to print it. What a shocker! This story takes place in a castle where 4 wealthy men decide to follow their darkest desires for 120 days. So they would go to the city, bring young people to their castle, and do horrible things to them, from sadism to masochism. And yes, the book tells you exactly what they do. Very explicitly, no filter. No wonder this is considered one of the most disturbing books of history. The author claims he wrote this book to test people's morality and self-control. He wanted to show the dark side of human nature and make people question what's right and wrong. A clever cover-up for his own dark desires? Who knows? But honestly, it's the kind of book that makes you wonder if some stories are just too dark to be told. 13 Reasons Why. You are in school and hear a rumor about one of your classmates. You decide to ignore it completely, dismissing it as quickly as you would the idea of pineapple on pizza. You don't think about it or discuss it with your friends. However, it doesn't take long before the rumor is everywhere. It's all over the campus, spreading like wildfire, and your classmate who was just going about their life suddenly feels like the world is closing in on them, exactly like in this book. The story centers on a high school girl named Hannah Baker, who tragically killed herself and leaves behind a set of 13 tapes. The tapes were like small pieces of a big puzzle explaining why she did that, and each one is addressed to a different person whom she feels played a role in her decision. The book was banned because some folks think it's too intense for younger readers, kind of like when you accidentally take a sip of your mom's super strong coffee instead of your hot chocolate. But some of the readers also think it's important to talk about issues like bullying, violence, gossiping, and spreading rumors, all that toxic high school stuff, so we can understand and help each other. This book definitely makes you think, wow, I never realized how much my words could hurt someone, at least one time. Out of Darkness. It is the year 1930, and you've been invited to dance at your school party with your friends. The theme is old-fashioned wedding, and you're excited to join in the fun. But as soon as you enter, you notice something unsettling. The room is divided, and on the basis of skin color. It was the time when racism was at its peak, and people used to treat black people like slaves or low caste. This was the harsh reality of Naomi and Wash's lives. But as it is said, love has no boundaries. Despite the odds, they fell in love with each other. A classic romance story. Naomi is Mexican American and Wash is African American, and back then their love was a big no-no. The story also revolves around a real-life tragedy, a devastating explosion at a school that changes everything. This explosion tears everything apart in an instant. Because Out of Darkness talks about tough subjects like racism, violence, and forbidden love, it's been banned in some places. This book is like peeling an onion. Every layer reveals something new, and yes, makes you want to cry a little bit more. Some people find it too heavy, like trying to lift a giant boulder when you're only used to carrying a backpack. But for some people, it is important to learn about these social issues, so we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. And while this book is intense and definitely not your typical bedtime story, it's a powerful reminder of how far we've come, and how far we still have to go. Zodiac. You're curled up in bed planning to read just a few pages before drifting off to sleep. Suddenly, every little noise in your house feels suspicious. That's the kind of book this is. It pulls you in and leaves you a little paranoid. So maybe save this one for a sunny afternoon, because trust me, you'll want all the lights on after reading it. Don't worry, it's not a horror story, but it's just as intense as reading one. Robert Graysmith's Zodiac dives deep into this real-life mystery that terrified California. It's like getting sucked into a detective movie where the bad guy is always one step ahead. Graysmith, a cartoonist who became obsessed with the case, pieces together clues, interviews, and his theories to try and unmask the Zodiac. But here's the catch: this killer loved sending creepy letters and cryptic puzzles to the police, turning the investigation into the world's most twisted game of hide and seek. This book was banned by the Michigan Department of Corrections because they believe it gives explicit instructions for committing the perfect crime. And guess what? He never got caught. But don't worry, you can sleep alone in your room. It's just a story from the 1970s, unless, of course, someone decides to continue his legacy. Thank you for watching. If you want to learn more about the Zodiac and other psycho killers, I recommend watching this video.